All right, we
We're
are
live.
we are live. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know if we're live. Oh my gosh, we are very, very excited. This is how excited we are. I poured the good stuff, and Jacob wanted to be here. This is the first talking with Jacob's like, no. And Jacob cracked open the good stuff. So Mike Hard, what do you got, Jared?
This is a electric jellyfish, which is allegedly the most popular beer in Austin. It's made by like a place called Pint House.
That
here.
sounds better than Mike's Hard Lemonade. So I'm going to give
it's
you.
Better, it's better than Mike's Hard. Yeah.
Hey, Mike's Hard's pretty good. Come on now.
I'm going to rate you above the best producer on BookTube. Well, look. I'm so excited. You are we've been so excited to talk to you. You're one. I think this. I'm going to go. I'm not even going out on a limb. This is how I.
Can you start over one more time?
This is how I see. I have two cousins. That was just
Jacob. Let's take it from the top. Let's cut in the stream. Let's get back on.
Here's the thing. You are, I think, a digital age Renaissance man. You got your musings. You're writing on Substack. You have your channel on YouTube. Now you're hosting a podcast, The Honest Broker. Got the first episode out. Everything is linked right down there for everyone.
Yes.
But if there is kind of like a thinker, a Renaissance man of the digital age, I see that as you out there. So I'm so excited to talk to you about all kinds of things. Okay. So welcome to the show.
Awesome. I was here to have fun. So let's see.
Too bad, Jared.
Forget it.
I even planned an unboxing for this stream.
I didn't realize. I feel horrible.
I didn't realize your PO box would close in time.
I feel horrible.
Yeah. Oh, did you not pick it up?
It got there at it closes at 6:30, and Jared let me know it was there at 6:10. I was like, there's no way I could make it.
It was supposed to be delivered by 4, and then
I know it was a fail, horrible fail on my part.
We do have a huge compliment from a wonderful person, Janny Wirtz. Jared, enjoyed your channel since I heard you speak on Joanna's several years ago. Now you're here with 2 of my favorite people.
Well, awesome. Janny's one of our favorite people. So
yeah,
I also think that this is like the most comments we've had in a lead up.
To
stream.
People are ready to go. So if you see anything good, let me know. I got to see what this is. The 3 wise men of BookTube in the same video. I don't know if BookTube can handle this story. BookTube can. Well, I'm going to go 1 wise man, and maybe between the 2 of us, we make up a quarter.
I think Jared's doing the heavy lifting there.
And so here's the first question I want to ask you, Jared.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach, for that amazing comment. To become a philosopher, was that a calling when you were young? How does that work?
Oh, okay. So, a lot of people, it starts in college for me, except I am a little bit rare because I started majoring. As an entering freshman, I was majoring in philosophy. That is incredibly uncommon. Almost everyone that you meet, even who went on to become a philosophy professor, transfers in because they take 1 philosophy class. But I actually started as a dual philosophy and English major. And I'll be completely honest. I majored in philosophy because I wanted to sound smart. That was why I did it. I majored in English because I liked books. I majored in philosophy because I wanted to sound smarter than people who liked books.
It worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, you could check both those boxes.
Yeah. Within a year, I dropped my English major, actually. And so I was only a philosophy major. So when I graduated. And so, it started off by wanting to sound smart. It sounded like that. But then I just found the stuff that you would read so interesting. It's it just really is great. And, it worked out. But I don't know. I think a lot of people, they hear philosophy and they think, what's the point? Or those are that's navel gazing, or it's probably going to be boring. But I don't know. It can be really fun. It can be really interesting. And in fact, what I've tried to do kind of, especially in the last year or so, is show how there's all these concerns you might have about your life or about the world or about society or whatever, and that philosophy is actually relevant to all of those things. Not by dumbing the philosophy down, but by making you realize that those things that you kind of are anxious about or worried about, actually philosophers have had something to say about something related. So that's why, I had a video, it didn't do super well, but it was a video why we can't stop scrolling. But in the middle of that, I'm talking about Seneca talking about anger. Seneca's theory of anger. And so it's I want to show you there, that's part of the story. So any of the things that you're worried about in your life, actually probably philosophers have written about it at least a little bit, and you could go read them, because we just so happens we've saved some of the best stuff that's ever been written, and by some of the smartest people that's ever been written, that have been alive. Yeah.
But does that fascinate you now that where you're at is that these things were written about before scrolling was an issue? Like it was, we had discipline problems, we had rampant problems with our emotions and dealing with the outside world coming at us too quickly. And now it's still relevant. It almost, I mean, does this strike you? Does it strike you as it strikes me that it's like, it's just on rinse and repeat almost?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah. The refrain I come back to a lot is that basically all of our problems are old, and they take on new problems of scale sometimes, or they take on new valences or new complexities or whatever. But deep down, all of our problems are old, and so that means that when you're looking for answers, you don't have to start by looking at things that have been written in the last 5 years. And so, I do think that over time and in history, people are quite different. Like what it was like to be a person in ancient Rome is very different than what it was like to be a person here. But there's kind of a core that is quite stable across time, and that allows us to sort of, to read it and relate. To think about, like, for drama or something, like if someone wanted to tell me like I'm struggling with my job and like my dead end job and like the meaning of my life and stuff like this, you'd be like, you might want to read Death of a Salesman. Right. And now Death of a Salesman's not that old, but it's not that new either. Right. But if you're like, I really am struggling with like indecision and I don't know how to make a really difficult choice, or I know what the right thing is to do, but I can't bring myself to do it. I'm like, well, you know who wrote a lot about that and did really well? Shakespeare. You should read Hamlet. And so you're like, I know what I must do and yet cannot bring myself to do it. And it's like, well, we have one of the great plays is about this. Like, so you could go and read it. And so I think one of the sort of subtexts of my channel or kind of my work is that you could just read that stuff and you would probably find some wisdom here. And if like all that I ever really do is just encourage you to go find that stuff, then I feel pretty happy.
So wisdom doesn't change. It stays fresh. It stays relevant, I think. I mean, for me, because you're preaching to the choir, man. Go see Hamlet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it turns out, guys, we're giving you like the good stuff early. By like hour 2, you've got 3 beer Jared, and we're talking about like why I DNF'd a Guy Gavriel Kay novel or something. But like early on, we've said go see Hamlet.
That'll come.
So yeah.
So, I mean, was that kind of the basis of why you wanted to start the channel to begin with? Because I know you've gotten more recently into, like, I have the benefit of editing the Honest Broker podcast in advance. So I've heard you talk for like 6 hours today, and now I have a bunch of questions based on that.
Okay.
But now your channel has
don't blow it before it comes out.
No, I'm not going to spoil anything.
See,
it's good, though. You should watch it when it comes out.
Podcast, Jared.
Yeah. But you've talked about how your channel has kind of, by popularity, moved into this direction of talking about like the male readership crisis and doom scrolling and trying to, moving into dumb phones and breaking away from technology and stuff. Was part of the reason that you started your channel something to begin with that? Like you wanted to talk about the male readership crisis or just get people to read more, or was there a goal in general, really?
Well, the origins of the channel are a little bit, real, like Jared heads know this, that actually originally my channel was a podcast, like at the very, very beginning. And I had like a partner and stuff. And it was called The Classical Mind, and it was going to be all about old books. And then what happened is like I made some other videos that put on there, and those did really well. And eventually we decided to like split the channel and the podcast. And while we were splitting the channel and the podcast, our friendship like disintegrated. So which is why I don't co-host things anymore. But the channel started to talk about books. Now, I don't talk about books all that often. I talk about literacy and reading a lot, but I don't. I very rarely will. I mean, I think in the last 6 months I've done one video where I'm like, here are 6 books I think you should read. Right? I just don't do that anymore. I have a second channel that I post to like once every 3 months, and occasionally I show some stuff. Like when I do my best books of the year, I will put a video up there. Right?
So you do some still,
but I some, right. But it originally started because I wanted to talk about books. And then eventually I decided I didn't want to just talk about books, but I wanted to talk about the ideas in those books. So if you like look closely at the script of any video that I do, a lot of it's like, here's this problem, by the way, here's this cool book I read that kind of helped explain it, and here's this other book that you could put in conversation. And it's really like you could map out a Jared Henderson video by looking at like 3 books that I read on a similar topic and trying to like weave together the themes. That's sort of the secret. And so I'm still talking about the books, but I'm really focusing on like the ideas of them rather than say like my reaction to them. So I don't do this kind of like standard booktube thing now, which it would be like, here are the things I read this week. Here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't like. You know, I just moved away from that format, in part because I just found it more interesting. Like I just wanted to do something else.
Yeah. How long do you take to script your videos? Like how long does that take you?
I think a good video for me, if I'm like reading a lot and stuff, should take 20 to 30 hours if I'm thinking about the research that I do, going back and scripting and things like that. But that's spread over. Like,
Dude, that's like a real job.
Dude, we
is
just
real
hit
time.
record.
Yeah,
You
we
should
push a
maybe-
button.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is my job. Like,
Yeah,
Well, that's true.
I suppose that is the difference.
Yeah.
You know, if a talking story video comes out and sucks, it doesn't affect anybody.
Yeah. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Exactly. Though I think you guys very rarely put out like total stinkers.
Oh no.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, you know, we have.
Really, anytime we try something new, you can expect it'll be 9 or 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
normal though. That's
But that's completely normal. Yeah, you have to figure things out. You know, it's all a learning process. So you say you don't do this. I want to do this, and I want you to use your philosopher brain. What would be some books that we should all read that would make our world better or make us better in the world?
Oh, okay. Well, wow. I think almost
No
everyone
pressure.
would benefit from reading Plato. I think that basically, as just if you want to talk about what it means to like to improve yourself or something, well, here's like the quickest tip: you can get the complete works of Plato in a really good translation for like $40. You could buy that and you could just read that over and over again for the rest of your life, and you're probably doing all right. So like that's one place to start. They're a little overplayed now, but I like a lot of the Stoics. So I would also highly recommend Boethius's Consolation of Philosophy. I like the work of Hannah Arendt quite a bit. I've read a lot of her in the last like year or two, and would say things like Eichmann in Jerusalem, The Origins of Totalitarianism, The Life of the Mind, The Human Condition. All of those books are worth reading as well. But in truth, I don't know how many. Oh, and then you should read Aristotle. You should read Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, especially. But in truth, I think a lot of it would be like, what do you as a particular person want, or what do you as a particular person like find interesting? Because almost certainly there is some philosophy that would like speak to you, right? But also that was just like a list of philosophers, and I think for a lot of people, what they would really benefit from is just reading more novels. Like they would probably just be better off reading, engaging with more stories. And they would probably learn more lessons from that than they would from reading a philosopher, at least at first. Let me give you a quick example. I'm really sorry to sort of bogart this, but I've been thinking,
go.
Okay, I was just reading. Okay, like last month I was reading some stuff about Hegel, sort of famously difficult philosopher. Okay, I don't pretend to be a master of it. And one of the things I was really interested in is sort of how Hegel and like the romantics that he was responding to were dealing with this problem of like alienation. What does it mean to be alienated, right? All right, I could try to give you a theory of like Hegel's theory of this. I would do a terrible job, but I could try to tell you that, right? I could do that. But frankly, there was a book that I read last week. It's sitting on my desk, so I can just pull it up. If you want to understand alienation, you should just read No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. This is like sort of a famously depressing book. But like, if you want to understand like the experience of being alienated from the world and from yourself, you should read Dazai. And I would say probably you would have a better intuitive grasp of alienation than like any amount of philosophy would give you. Though philosophy can come later to help you make sense of your experiences, but the sort of the feeling of it, it's really going to be there, would I think come from reading something like that.
I mean, I think it's I think I would say I would say read Metamorphosis by Kafka would do that as well.
Yeah, that would do another. Yeah.
But or Perdido Street Station by China Mieville is another. I think that's another excellent look of the other. But it's like, I so agree with you. I think, and tell me why this is that, because I have my thoughts, but I'm probably not that great. But why is books more important than getting your stories from the tube or flicks or, which is great. I love those as well. But what makes a difference sitting under a lamp with a book in a corner? What's the difference?
Well, I do think just the structure, like of the form of the medium, allows you to understand the interior experiences of another person better than anything else. You can get a lot of psychological explorations in drama, and you can get a lot of psychological exploration in film and TV, and TV can be done really well. I'm not totally anti-TV. I like The Wire. I like The Sopranos. Like,
The Wire's amazing.
I'm just saying, like, I'm
Yeah.
like big, bold, controversial stance. I think The Sopranos is good, but but
Breaking Bad, good show.
yeah, exactly. But books actually allow you to get inside another person's head in a way that in film it can happen, but it's always indirect.
Yeah.
Right. Unless there's a narrator, but a lot of films with narrators are bad. So maybe it's done well sometimes, but it's done really poorly. The same with drama, right? So like if you're reading something, a play, it's going to have to happen in speech, basically. You don't get that internal monologue or that sort of exploration from someone else's point of view. Books allow you to do that in a way that you at least it's significantly more difficult to pull it off in other artistic medium. And two, I think that they also allow you to sit with it a lot longer. Okay, so a book, some books only take you a few hours. Some books are going to take you 30 or 40 hours, right? If you read a series like these, like nuts fantasy series you guys read, that would be, they're 12 books or something, and there's so much like time you're going to spend with those characters that you're never really going to do that in a film. You might do that in a television show. Most television shows that go that long, though, they cheat to keep you interested.
Yeah.
They go to lots of different points of view. They have wild tangents or something to kind of keep it interesting. And usually, frankly, I think a lot of TV shows that go on too long, they just really start to struggle under their own weight. Where that can happen in a big long series, but it doesn't always. I finished last week. I finished Shadows Upon Time.
Okay, talk to me. Because
Okay.
I am about 150, 200 pages away from finishing Disquiet Gods.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I finished Shadows Upon Time. I will not spoil it for anybody, but I'd spent, what does a Sun Eater book take? Like 20 hours, maybe? 15
Yeah,
hours?
around there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't blow through those. Yeah.
So we're looking at across those books, I've spent at least 100 hours in Hadrian's point of view.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That gives me a lot to work with as I sort of think about it. Yeah. By the way, are you liking Disquiet Gods?
Very much. I think it might be my favorite of the series. And I know
So
it's not yours.
No, it's my least favorite of the series.
Yeah, I know it's your least favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
And if you could tell me why without spoilers, I'd love to hear.
It's impossible right now. Yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
well,
I couldn't
talk
say
later.
it. I will say this though. Okay, when I finished Shadows Upon Time, I reached out to Christopher to like give him all the things I loved and all the things I hated, and I consider it like part of my responsibility as like a friend to also tell him the things I hated.
Yeah.
And,
absolutely.
And we did that, and I was like, but then I said, but I think everyone will love this. Like, it'll be like what their rating of Disquiet Gods will be the same as Shadows Upon Time, but like +1 for Shadows Upon Time. So if you love Disquiet Gods, you're gonna really love Shadows Upon Time. And so,
Which you didn't love Disquiet Gods, so did you
for
not
me,
love?
For me, Shadows Upon Time ended up being kind of in the middle for the series.
Okay.
However, I will say that there are some parts about Shadows Upon Time I really dislike. There are a few things here that I really dislike. Tanner, it is slightly related to Chapter 40, but not entirely. There are some parts of Shadows Upon Time that I loved.
Yeah. I think I know. I think I remember what Chapter 40 is.
And so I'm just saying, like, Shadows Upon Time, however, it wraps up the series really well.
Yeah.
Like
Does
you
he, as
do
long
have
as he lands the plane,
you
right?
do have a so even if I complain about some of the things that happen in Rockio novels, it's like so
Mhm.
here's one of them that's just totally not a spoiler. There's a big battle in this book, okay? Big surprise, right? There's always
Yeah,
there's only
shocker.
there's only like 2 or 3 in a Rockio book.
Mhm.
I don't actually like battle scenes that much. Like
Mm.
I don't love fight scenes in general, and I
Yeah.
think that they get overwritten and they go on too long, and where I don't feel the tension anymore. And I think that I think Christopher's books basically have that exact problem.
Mhm.
So okay, okay. So if you agree with me, then you will find some of the battles to not be great.
Mhm.
But it's going to be the same as like you thought about most of the other battles, right? Like they like
Gotcha.
and so that's basically what I mean. Would I say anyone who read Disquiet Gods but was on the fence should you read Shadows Upon Time? Absolutely, you should read Shadows Upon Time. Like you should finish the series, and you will be glad that you finished the series.
Without spoilers, then how did you feel about Demon in White? Out of curiosity.
Yeah. What is your favorite of the series?
Demon in White is my favorite,
Demon in White is your
Really?
favorite.
and
Okay.
the reason that I like Demon in White so much, is
Demon
because
in White's got a long battle, man.
yeah, well, they all have long battle, man. Like,
Yeah,
like
at
like
least a
that,
couple.
so the reason I like Demon in White is because one thing I think Christopher does really well is play like court politics, and
Yes.
the more sort of court politics shows up in a book, the more I like it. And Demon in White is where that's like in your face
Yeah.
the whole time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and so it's like that rules. There are some really good machinations in Shadows Upon Time. You will like this. I will also tell you that there were at least 2 moments that were like lore drops in Shadows Upon Time where my mouth was actually open.
That's
There
what I
are
like.
some things in here that I wish I could tell you because I almost like want to spoil it for you because you would hate me that much, right? It would almost be delicious like, how much you
And just the
hate me.
power, the sheer power.
Yeah, exactly. I could ruin your month basically. And so that's why I and those parts are cool. I'll also say and this will probably be the last thing I'm saying about Shadows Upon Time because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm spoiling. There are enough questions opened in this book that are not answered to make you feel satisfied, actually.
Okay.
I think one of the
Okay.
problems that I think some, especially very popular fantasy writers right now do, is every question gets settled. Like every question has like a definite answer to it. And that kind of stinks. You know, Robert Jordan very explicitly left 3 big mysteries, and Sanderson kind of honored those as he finished, and that was good. But there are also like lots of little things in that series, in the Wheel of Time, that don't get answered, and that's nice. It gives you things to think about, and it makes the world feel really big.
Mm-hmm.
And there's at least one thing that you're gonna really wish you could see in Shadows Upon Time, but you're never gonna see it.
I'm sure more than one. I see. I'm really liking Disquiet Gods because I think it does what a penultimate book should do.
Mm-hmm.
It clarifies the conflict even more. It ratchets it up to 11. It gives you enough answers, but yet not all of them. Like it's doing everything for me that I would hope a penultimate book would do. And it's doing it really well. And he does such an amazing job of over and over and over again, book for book for book for book. It's such a love letter to story overall. And I love that story is so important to us thousands and thousands of years into the future in this galactic hegemony. And it's messed up, you know. It's Schrodinger's cat is messed up with Pandora's box, and Siddhartha's journey is messed up with Arthur. And it's still this love of story that builds us and makes us go is still there. And I love that.
I like the Siddhartha thing. So like the
yeah.
Siddhartha
Oh, me too.
I think that's like a fun. I think that's like a fun twist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that in his world building quite a bit.
Have you? Before I let you go, Jacob, I'll just ask real quick. Have you read Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham?
I haven't. I was going to ask you to sell me on it in this stream.
Dude, here's the thing. Exactly what I'm going to.
How much time do we have? He'll go on forever.
What you just said, and I kind of described it the same way. It's like I can get battle fatigue in these epic fantasies because it builds up to this big duel or this big, the armies take the field, and this doesn't do that. It stays very focused on the individual characters in that Shakespearean way. I mean, you have a guy screaming I'll give away my kingdom for a horse. I don't have to see the battlefield. I just have to see these people that actually make the decisions, and the ripples of their world affect them, and what that's going to have consequences down the road that continue to make their decisions. And it follows these two men that meet as children and go all the way through. You get their entire lives in this world and the people around them and how it changes the world. And the world, not only character arcs, but the world changes in the most drastic, phenomenal, jaw-unhinging ways of any story I've ever read. Okay. But it's always, the drama is always found in two people in a room talking.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I once described, someone was recommending some book to me. I can't remember what it was, and I just asked them, like, is this like a book where things happen, or is this a thing where people sit around and are sad? Because I like the sit around and sad kind of book.
I really think this would be a book for you. And you've got to sell me on Wolf Hall, I guess, because I've already, for people's bingos cards already in chat, we have to bring that up.
What is Wolf Hall? Am I out of the loop?
Oh my God, Jake.
All right, go ahead, Jared.
All right, so Wolf Hall is the beginning of a trilogy. It's historical fiction following Thomas Cromwell, who's the legal advisor to Henry VIII around the time that the Church of England is about to split off from the Catholic Church. And it follows Thomas's sort of rise from poverty into political power. Hilary Mantel is a horrendously good writer, like genuinely amazing. And historians of the period have essentially like the guy Dearman McCull, I believe is his name, who wrote he wrote the biography of Thomas Cromwell, and also wrote like the sort of definitive history of the Reformation that everybody reads. And he's like, this is Thomas Cromwell. Like, it is in, like, Thomas Cromwell in the archive is Thomas Cromwell on the page, but it's written in this really electric style. It's third person, but it's heavily limited to Thomas's point of view in a way that can be disorienting at times, like how limited it is. Actually, she's so good about this. And it's written in present tense, which gives it this real drive that you don't expect in historical fiction. I mean, you kind of, like, I'm reading Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth right now. It's good, but like it kind of is like, oh, it's like, and now this thing happens, and here's this like other thing, and that's not how Wolf Hall is written, like, at all.
It's more current, it's more tangible, it's more.
Yeah. I mean, it's so in Cromwell's head. It's so in Cromwell's head without going into first person point of view. It's great. And then if you like Wolf Hall, you can go read the other books, Bring Up the Bodies, In the Mirror and the Light. The Mantel won the Booker Prize for the first two books, and then didn't win for the third, which was considered a real controversy at the time. I'll look that up, Janny. Thank you. And it was considered like it was like a snub. Like, that's how, like, people loved the third book as well. So look, Wolf Hall, it rules, man. It is really good.
It's here on the shelf, Jacob. If you want it, we can pass it your way.
I was going to say, maybe that's one we should read together. That might be the first one we can read together that neither of us have read before.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And
although it looks like 688 pages. So
that would take you a whole year. We'll get Jared to come back and tell us what we read. All right, I'm going to let you ask a question, Jacob, because I could go all night. Go ahead.
No problem. You were talking about you finished Shadows Upon Time, which one I think is crazy because you have the amount of things going on that you do right now.
Yes. How'd you do that?
You just sit down and read. It turns out that's the trick.
But I mean, do you have like dedicated time to, how do you read so much? Do you have a schedule to do it, or you just find the time?
I mean, it helps that reading books is basically my full-time job. I mean, well, I guess really my full-time job is writing, right? Like, that would be the way to describe it, whether I'm putting that on Substack right, or working on my book or putting in a YouTube video. And I just dedicate 3 to 4 hours a day for reading time. Like, there will just be 3 to 4 hours a day in my life where I read, whether that's partly during the day, partly in the afternoon. Maybe for an hour before I go to bed. So pretty much just always 3 to 4 hours a day.
God, man, I think I read like 20 to 30 minutes on a good day.
You can get there, man. You can get there.
Yeah. I read about 3 to 4 hours a day. The same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Well, you do 100 pages a day is your goal, right?
I mean, sometimes it comes faster than 3 hours. It depends on what I'm reading, but sometimes it takes, 3 to
Sure.
4, depending on what it is.
Yeah. So then, do you have dedicated time for the book as well? Because now you have deadlines to worry about for that.
Yeah. My book's due in a couple of months. And really quickly, Sam, I increased my mic volume. Let me know if that's high enough. Apparently,
Okay.
our levels are not totally balanced.
Oh,
Okay,
mine
so
might be-
yeah, for that, it helps that I just really like writing that book. So I probably work on that at least 2 hours a day. A lot of the stuff that I'm reading is also relevant for the book, though. So
Okay.
since it's nonfiction, right, it's like there's a lot of like research stuff I have to do, refamiliarizing myself with sources and things. So that that's fairly easy to find time for. The hard thing I found the thing I've struggled to find time for lately is writing YouTube videos. That's why I haven't put a video out in a while, right? Like and it's actually probably the least enjoyable part of like my job. Like I love writing the book. I love writing on Substack. YouTube's great, but like it's just not the part that's like as much fun. And then on top of that, I am working on a novel, and that's
What?
like, but that's so slow, such slow.
In
going for
addition
me.
to the book that's due in a couple
Yeah,
months.
yeah. And
So-
I'm working on a proposal for a second book, a second nonfiction book. Who knows if that'll sell, but I'm trying. And then I'm working on a novel as well. Yeah.
So,
Good Lord, Jared. I mean, is there anything you can tease us first? Of
yeah,
all,
tease
about
us.
the book coming out in 2 months?
The
Or
nonfiction
book
that's
is
coming
due in
out
2 months?
sooner. Try tease that.
Yeah.
A little.
The nonfiction book, that's been like announced mostly. So the working title is
Okay.
The Philosophical Life: How to Think in an Age of Distraction. I describe it as like Aristotle meets Neil Postman, who's the author of Amusing Ourselves to Death. And it sort of gives a philosophical account of what the vita contemplativa is, which is the life of the mind or the life of contemplation, and how we can and why we should live that kind of life today, despite the false promises of productivity culture and the constant distractions of our media ecology, and the fact that all of our cultural incentives point in the other direction.
Now I have to ask, how do you live that life? Because with the
Because
kinda
we're up here
tightrope
on the
walk
internet.
of- yeah.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that I was thinking about this a little bit today, because part of it's due to what you think like paying attention to things is, right? And I was reading Simone Weil, who's this like French philosopher and like mystic, and she describes attention essentially as like this expression of love, and it's the exact opposite of this kind of like clenched, tightened focus that we typically think. Attention is in fact actually a very relaxed state to be. And so I find like when I'm reading stuff that I love, or when I'm working on my book, this is exactly the experience that I'm having. And now it's a little unfair for me to say, okay, the trick is to become a full-time YouTuber and then make enough passive income that you don't have to work a 40-hour job that you hate, right? And that's some of the realities that I try to like bring out in the book. There's this guy who wrote this really, really great book called The Intellectual Life. His name was Antonin Sertionge. He was this French Dominican monk. No, they're not called monks, but they're Dominican friar. Yeah. And he wrote this in the early 20th century. And he has this phrase that I use in the book that I love, which is that he asks if you have 2 hours a day and can you jealously guard them and ardently use them? And it's like,
Yes.
if you can have 2 hours a day jealously guarded and ardently used. So it's jealously guarded, meaning like you're not letting anything intrude in those 2 hours. And ardently used, meaning when you are there in those 2 hours, can you really do the thing that you think is worth doing? And if you can do that, you can basically live that kind of life. And those 2 hours become like a respite for you. It's like a refuge from like this horrific, like overworked, like burnout culture that we live in now.
Yeah. I feel that way about my reading time. It's like I'm more relaxed, and it's almost a meditative state when I have that time. Like if I don't have that time, I don't feel right.
Yeah. Let me actually pull up this poem really fast. It's relevant, I swear.
Oh, we're getting
I
a
would
reading.
love to hear it.
Lovely.
This is from Friedrich Holderlin. Okay, It's called Socrates and Alcibiades. Don't worry, it's only like 8 lines.
Okay.
Holy Socrates, why always with deference do you treat this young man? Don't you know greater things? Why so lovingly, raptly, as on gods, do you gaze on him? Who has the deepest love has thought, no, who the deepest has thought loves what is most alive. Wide experience may well turn to what's best in youth, and the wise in the end will often bow to the beautiful. Now, the reason I wanted to read that here, and unfortunately I botched the first line, but it's that first line in the second stanza, who the deepest has thought loves what is most alive. In this lecture series called What is Called Thinking, Martin Heidegger talks about that, and he loves the fact that Holderlin puts the 2 verbs together, thought and love. Yeah. And it's kind of that same theme that you get from Vi, that thinking and love somehow go together.
Is just having things like that on the top of your head the pretension that you were looking for when you were in college?
I guess so. Yeah. I was reading that stuff. I was reading that stuff today, though. So, so it's like deep. It's like really on my mind. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, because this is how it works for me. How books get deeper than like if I'm watching a movie or something.
Yeah.
I'm watching a movie and I'm watching someone that was cast, and it's almost like a barrier between you've spent all these hours with Hadrian at this point, as a young man, idealist leaving his home, and then all the way through what he's gone through. Don't you see yourself when you run this in your mind or in any way internalize what he's going through? Don't you see yourself in this? That allows that barrier is broken down. It's not another performance or another interpretation between you and the words. It's you in the words as you read it. That's my shortcut. I think that how it works.
Yeah. That's especially, it can be very powerful, especially when you're reading something written with a tight first person point of view, right? That like in like the really good moments, when he says he is speaking for you. And those are going to be the moments that like really hit you quite deeply.
Well, I know for you as well, Dad, when you're watching TV shows and movies, it's like because you've been an actor for so long that there's that barrier as well. That anytime you're watching something, you can't stop yourself from paying attention to the performance. Rather than when you're reading a book, I'm sure it's just you're thinking of this character as a person and not some kind of replication.
Yeah. When I watch performances, I'm always stealing. I can't stop myself from stealing. So
yeah,
I still think I'll use stuff I watch someday. That time
but you guys think that when you're reading books too, because you're look at you, you're like 2 very successful, or you're 2/3 of a successful author.
We're 2 of the lesser thirds.
2 of the lesser thirds, and then probably pump your brakes on that successful part. I don't think we've quite hit that level yet.
I mean, how many copies of Discovery have you sold?
I think
a little over 1,500.
We're a little over 1,500 at this point.
That's doing better than a lot of Big 5 books.
It's very lucky.
I mean, we're extremely gobsmacked that there's 1,500 people with the book out there. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And people seem to like it, which is even crazier, So I think that because we really sat around a table attempting to entertain ourselves most of the time. So look, we're just happy.
We still do. That was the mission that Mom gave us before she went off to vacation. Is like, all right, I wrote this chapter, make it as scary as you can while I'm gone. And you're like, okay, yeah.
Okay.
This dynamic is fast. So your entire family is fascinating to me. It's so weird. I like want to put you in like a zoo and just like observe you or something, because
you are like a sociology experiment sometimes. Yeah.
Because it's like like I love my dad. Would I do a YouTube channel where I talk to my dad? Like, absolutely.
How many times have you heard this, Jacob?
And
I never understood it until very recent. I never understood it until I moved out, to be honest.
Well, you guys seem like genuine. Like, here's the weird, the thing about your family that's so striking, at least from the outside, is that all of you seem to, 1, genuinely like each other, which can be said, and 2, to be like genuine friends. Like, it seems like you like hanging out. You know what I mean? Like, and what you're basically doing is hanging out with your dad. Here, and so like that seems like that's fascinating. And then if my dad was like, I want to write a novel with you, I'd be like,
No.
I got things to do. Like I would, yeah, so the fact that you were able to not only conceive of that project, but then also like do it, like you actually accomplished writing a book. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm writing a book, but they don't finish the book, right? So like that already is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But then you did it with navigating. Did anyone even think about stabbing someone else?
Yes.
Oh,
Many times.
there were things that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, artists have egos, and
Yeah,
I'm sure you.
Well, that's
you
just
know
outside
exactly
of
what
you
we're
being
talking
my
about.
dad. Like it's just working with somebody that would happen.
Yeah.
Anybody, you would
Yeah.
have the time where you want to kill them. But
Yeah.
none of us ever thought. At least I didn't. I didn't think it was weird until I moved out. And I started realizing how many times a day that I talked to my dad. Because when we lived together, it was like, well, we live together and we work at the same company. So I was literally with my dad and my mom all day, every day of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I moved out, and we still do Talking Story. We're still writing this book together. We still have to talk. So I'm getting like probably 5 to 6 phone calls from my dad and my mom every day. And my friends and my fiance are like, hey, that's weird. That's not normal.
Yeah, that's not
Like, I don't understand. Why is that weird?
Yeah.
Because that's just what our
And
lives
weird doesn't
were.
mean bad, but it is weird.
No. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
be really clear. It's weird.
It is
Yeah.
weird. But
Well-
it
And you
works.
basically, it sounded like, Jacob, following the trajectory of the channel, it's like you've become like a reader or more of a reader because of this as
big
well.
time.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really read at all before
Yeah.
this channel.
This is also why I wanted to work with you. For those who didn't follow, Jacob is now, he's not my employee, but I pay him. He edits my he edits the podcast for me. And my thought was like, okay, John, you're a lost cause. You're like 70 years old. I'm not going to influence your tastes. But like,
no, you absolutely can influence my taste. But I am a lost cause.
Old dog, new tricks, etc. But Jacob, he's fresh faced. He has no taste. He hasn't formed it about books yet. So I could be like, here's a thing you should read, and there's a chance that it'll be like really formative for him.
Yeah. Well, here's this kid, dude. I am so happy you're working with him because he's such a special guy. He's such a special person. He's my best friend in the world.
You're my
And
dad. No one's going to
He's my
believe
best
you.
friend in the world for a reason. Like, he's hyper creative. He's the most loyal person you'll ever meet. And it's like, your biggest wish is your heart leaves your body and walks around in the world, and you get to watch it. It's like the best thing on cable. And when he gets to meet people and interact people like you, that I think can make him even a better person, it's just like, I feel like I crossed the finish line in a lot of ways and rang the bell. It's just such an amazing thing.
I could have some kind of influence. I can't guarantee better.
Oh, I'm almost positive. Yeah, no, I have no doubt.
No, you can't. I mean, if you paid me such a big compliment, I'll be honest and say that part of the reason I was so excited that you wanted to work with me is that you're my favorite booktuber. Like, I'll sit down and just put your videos on while I work because I think your videos are so great. So when you were like, I want you to edit something, I was like, I don't know if I have the time, but I'll make the time because that's such a great opportunity.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad it's working out.
And we count on
I'm
Uncle
happy
Brian
glad.
for all things worse.
Yeah.
And thank you, Zach. So let me ask this. Thinking about kids and all that kind of thing, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask this question. If you could change one thing about the world to make it a better place for your kids coming up, what would that one thing be?
And you can't choose like a hack, like I would be in charge. Right?
I would be king of the
You'd have to
world.
tell us what you do.
Yeah. Wow. If I could change one thing about the world. Oh my gosh. Wow. It's been a long time since I've been asked a question that completely stumped me. Usually I can come up with some, I can BS or something. But
That's you know what? That's all the miles. Like you said, I'm 70 years old, Jared.
Yeah. Wow. You can keep that one in your back pocket. You picked it up at a truck stop in like 1942 or something, and then
I got that out of a
decided I'm-
Buc-ee's bathroom, my brother.
Yeah. I'm
Came
gonna
out
use
and
that.
got a brisket sandwich, got in my truck, and drove on.
Yeah,
Been holding on to it till now.
Looked wistfully at the jerky wall, and then just
Yeah.
Wow. Change one thing about the world that would make it a better place. I would eliminate cell phones. Like I would destroy them all. I would get rid of cell phones.
Smartphones or cell phones?
Yeah, pretty much cell phones. Like I would get rid of all.
Really?
Yeah. I think that people should be. We should know less about each other. Yeah,
You know what?
I think that would be good.
That is so true. Because sometimes my wife, who I love more than life itself, will tell me, I know where you are. I looked at your dot. And I'm like, that should not happen. That should never happen.
Yeah.
Not
I don't
that
have
my dot will ever be somewhere it shouldn't be, but you know.
But my wife and I don't have location sharing on our phones, and it's purely in a sense of like, I just don't want this. I don't want anyone to have that information about this, and not even because I would tell her exactly where I went every day, right? But I just I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. So we have like location sharing turned off, all of that stuff. Yeah. And we barely text. Like we text like for logistic things about the kids.
Yeah.
But we try to have time every night, even with the baby and stuff, where it's kind of like a download. Let's talk for 30 minutes. What were your successes and failures? What do you think you want to do tomorrow? Those sorts of things.
Wow, dinner to sound like a business meeting. That's
no. It's not like it's not like that. It's not like what's your report. It's just like, okay, so there's actually this thing from Epictetus, right, where he says that before you go to bed, you should do this kind of reckoning for the day, where you ask like, what did I do well and what did I not do well, and you see this in like a lot of like wisdom traditions. This kind of like reflection on your day before, so that tomorrow you can do better, right? Like it's like basic practical advice, and I think that essentially. My sort of like view of marriage is that anything that you think is like good for you as like personal advice or personal like ways of like dealing with tales is actually basically the exact same thing that you extend to your spouse, because I view this as like we're just like this like two body organism. So for the same reason that I would want to kind of reflect on my day, I would like want to honestly reflect on my day with her, and like her like vice versa. And so that we can just like kind of talk through, but often like us talking about that stuff ends up us just having great conversations. So it's not like we've checked the box, now we don't have to talk to each other for the rest of the night. It usually goes off on like tangents and stuff. And lots of times it's like we do it while we walk or something, you know. My son goes to bed, and then her parents have been staying with us for a while to like help with the baby. So like someone stays in the house with him, and then like we take the baby on a walk in like the evening or something, and like that's when we have that kind of conversation. And then it goes on tangents and stuff because everything does. But you know, it's like having those kind of check-ins, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredibly healthy. Now I feel mean.
Yeah. See, way to go. What's one thing you would change, bud, to make the world better?
I'm 25. I don't have the authority to be making decisions like that.
Sure you do.
No, I don't know. I mean, it makes me want to ask Jared another question, because I'm more in the
by the way, this is basically the plot of The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula.
Was The Lathe of Heaven the one that Austin and Richard read and didn't like?
Well, I don't remember if they liked. I don't know if they liked it. I don't know if they liked The Lathe of Heaven or not. I can't remember. They really didn't like The Dispossessed.
The Dispossessed.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the one thing you changed about the world is that Tudor Ramble enjoyed The Dispossessed.
Well, no, small fries, man. Like we gotta. I can't use my one change on them. My God.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one thing that I would change about the world. I mean, you know, world hunger. I guess now I sound like an ass if I don't have an answer, but
yeah, you kind of, a little bit.
Yeah, you know, it's like I would go back in time and stop the Holocaust. Like none of us said that.
No, none of us said
that is true. I did notice that you said get rid of cell phones instead of stop war. So
yeah, exactly. So that's whatever.
I don't know. Conflict and strife are part of the human condition.
If we can think like on a smaller scale, would there be advice of somebody who is stuck doom scrolling and attached to their phone? Like, what would your advice be for the first step out of it? Or what phone do you have, Jared? Do you have a dumb phone?
No, I have an iPhone, but during the day I use this thing called a brick. It's this it's like a 3D printed like thing with like an NFC or whatever sensor, like those, and you have to physically I physically lock my phone, and it locks all my apps down, and I have to like scan the physical thing to unlock my phone. So I only have like 2 apps available on my phone when I go out to my office, and I have a backyard office. I converted like a shed into an office. That's where I am right now. And so the phone never comes in here, if without being locked down. Actually, it did. It's not locked down right now, but like when I'm working and stuff, it's just always locked down. It's like $20. You should just buy one. Honestly, I think most people would benefit because they want a lot of the functionality of having a phone. They want to have maps, or they want to listen to Spotify in their car or whatever. Okay, but do this, and it's going to lock Instagram and YouTube, or like whatever it is that you think is like, Twitter, whatever that is. Just like all of those things can be locked down so that you can then just think about it like this. All the time you spend doing that stuff, it's not that sucks. Okay, it does suck, but that's not the point. The point is you're not doing the stuff that you actually love.
Mm-hmm.
The point is the point is that you think to yourself, I wish I hadn't done that. And that I wanted to work out. I wanted to just spend more time hanging out with my girlfriend. I wanted, whatever it is, I wanted to read a little bit more. Imagine if we got you from reading 20 minutes a day to 45 minutes a day. That's double.
Right.
You'd read twice the amount of books, right? And it's a 20-minute increase, right? You're at that point in your reading journey where like the smallest minutes of increase, it has the maximum effect,
huge.
right? Like,
Yeah.
right.
Huge,
Right. Like you're in like your newbie gains phase, but for reading instead of weightlifting, so like, if you were anything like that, they got you 20 extra minutes, you would feel good,
Yeah.
Or I'm watching this film, I actually like this film. Why am I scrolling on my phone while I'm watching this film, right? Just and so I just say remove the option. Remove the option.
Yep.
Like that's why I do it, and that's why I think it sounds like overkill to like buy another device like the brick thing, but it's not that expensive. Buy one. I have mine like it's magnetized and it's by my fridge, and I lock it when I get water to then go out to the shed. I take my water bottle, and then when I go back out, if I want to unlock it, I can check my messages. Then I relock it. Like I just do the same thing over and over.
And that's a step to building and protecting that 2 hours you were talking about. Like that's a great step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the other answer is you should. I think basically everyone should get up earlier. I like to get up early and read, and just don't look at your phone. Like don't make that the very first thing that you do. Like it's insane that we all do it. You wake
what
up.
If your job is? What if your job requires you to get up at 6 a.m. and edit a talking story video? What do you do then?
You got to quit that job.
Yeah. Now, if you were talking about waking up at 6 a.m. to edit a podcast episode, that's different. Commit.
That's
everything
that
you have
too.
to that. Everything you have is on that. But that's different.
I mean, that's probably things are said that are of consequence in that podcast. That's a totally different. That's a totally different.
I mean, again, not to give compliments, but it was nice to edit that podcast and be like, there's like actual content in here. Like people are. It's been a while since I've made some cuts where people are talking about things. This is cool.
I did a recording with someone. You'll see the footage fairly soon, Jacob. With someone who in his free time, like for fun, he memorizes poetry. And he was saying like every time now when I'm standing like in line and I want to pick up my phone, I just see if I can remember the last poem I memorized.
Oh, that's smart.
That's really smart.
Yeah. And it makes for a great ending of the podcast, by the way, because I then, after I've asked him for a book recommendation, like I end all the podcast episodes with, I'm like, by the way, can you recite one of the poems? And he just does it. And the podcast ends with him just like staring me in the eye.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
that's so cool.
Reciting some poetry. So like, I think that's probably pretty cool. I've never really memorized poetry, but I've thought about doing it. And I think maybe it's something I'd like to do a little bit more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Where would you start?
With poetry?
With poetry?
If you're going to memorize poetry, like what poem would you go, you know what, I'm going to start with this one.
I really like this. I very recently kind of made myself start reading more poetry. So that would be, so I admit that I'm a bit of a neophyte, right? But I want to make sure that I get the title correct here. But I picked up a collection of romantic poetry that was edited by Auden. And it's a very, very good collection. And one of the poems that really stuck out to me that was like not by a name you'd recognize that much was called The Indian Burial Ground. The Indian Burying Ground by Philip Freneau, who's an American romantic. And that's like a little long there, but that would be good. I would love to have some Yeats memorized, especially the stuff on Sailing to Byzantium, which is the poetic inspiration for Guy Gavriel Kay's Sailing to Sarantium, and I think memorizing some Whitman would be great too.
Oh yeah.
You know, my when my son was born a couple of years ago, the very first thing he ever heard, besides people being like, check his weight and stuff like this, was me reading parts of Leaves of Grass to him.
Oh come on.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's huge, Jacob.
We start him off right in this house.
Yeah. Oh, let's prove. I want to show how we start them off. What was the first full sentence you could say, son?
Yeah. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war was the first sentence I said.
I feel like we're doing something right over here.
I like it. I like it. So John, what are you reading these days? What's on the stack right now?
Well, it's right now I'm reading Disquiet Gods, and then after that I've got what's that?
Are you like a one book at a time kind of guy?
I'm a one book at a time kind of guy. I can't. Okay. I have a real hard time doing. I don't have. It's not that I can't keep them separate because I can, but I just find myself really. I just get enmeshed in one, and I just want to stay there. Right. Actually, you know what? I'm a big fat liar. I'm reading 2 right now because I'm reading
the October book.
Yeah,
or whatever?
I'm reading A Night in Lonesome October by Roger Zelazny, but that's like a page and a half, 2-3 pages a day.
Really
that's like a structured reading. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's like an Advent calendar read for spooky season. So
Yeah,
I'm doing that and Disquiet Gods right now.
Okay. Yeah. I hate to reveal this on this podcast. I'm sorry. I hate Halloween.
No one asked you to share that, Jared. You just
Are you that kind?
It was, you said spooky season, and I every time someone says this, John, I want to go.
That's Halloween.
I will say the term spooky season makes me irrationally angry. I think it's ridiculous.
But I'm
you know what?
I hate Halloween.
You're not alone.
Halloween kind of sucks.
No,
I'm okay with dressing
up,
up, but yeah.
Okay, here's what I remember of Halloween when I was a kid, right? First of all, I love horror. I love horror movies. I love horror books. I love it all.
All right, that's the first problem, but we can get back to that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we're going to get back to that. But look, yes, it's the beginning. When you were a kid, doesn't the whole calendar year revolve around the holidays? Like, I can't wait to get that. I can't wait to get that big catalog in the mail. This is me being old.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get that big catalog in the mail. Turn to the back where all the toys are. Circle the ones I want. Make sure I've got it like categorized.
This was like a Sears catalog where you could order a house to build on the prairie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And holiday seasons always started with Halloween. Like once you hit Halloween, it's downhill from there into the holiday season.
Interesting. I guess I only thought about that in relation to Thanksgiving. Like that would be, I don't know, because the gap between Halloween and Thanksgiving is basically a month.
Yeah,
right? and the music,
and then the gap
change.
between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, but after Thanksgiving, they change the music and stuff in the stores.
Yeah,
so like that, like it's a bit more of like a cultural thing here. I guess
so
I don't mind like dressing up. That's fine. Like as a kid, I liked it enough. I hate horror.
Explain this to me. First of all, I can't believe you're that guy that turns his porch light off on Halloween. Don't tell me that's you.
No. Here's the thing. I dutifully sit outside and give candy to kids. Like I do, and they all go like boo, and I go
whatever.
But like I do. I sit out there and I give them candy. I do it. Yeah.
Okay, the good candy, you give the good candy. The porch light's on and you give the good candy.
Yeah, I'm getting like name brand candy. I'm not sometimes I'm getting big stuff like, yeah. I don't give fruit or something. Yeah.
You're in the good category. But now let's get to the important stuff.
You got to remember, I live amongst like these like Austin these certain kind of like Austin moms who are like, I give apples on Halloween. Like that's bullshit.
Oh,
like,
go away. That's horrible.
No, like, I'm giving large pieces of candy. They say, can I take 2? And I say, yeah, who cares? Because as soon as I run out, I'm going inside.
Yes, take 2 and make sure you eat one after midnight because it's the holidays. Okay. So tell me why you hate horror. Tell me why you hate horror, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Well, one of the reasons is I get really scared.
Well, that's not a good reason at all.
Well, that's not a good reason. It works.
No, I get really scared and I don't like it. I get really scared from some
really.
But do you not
what's
like
the last
horror
book you read that
movies either?
Really
it's just
scared?
horror.
Well,
in general.
I don't know the last time. I don't know the last time I actually read a horror book. I'm saying horror movies. Like I remember seeing the Strangers with my high school
Yes.
girlfriend, and I was like almost in tears before the Strangers arrived. It was just
That's
so
not good.
eerie, like so eerie. It was just like I can't. Yeah, I don't
That's
like
not a-
I don't like the experience of being scared like that. I did enjoy. I like The Shining,
That's a
but like
great
The Shining's like
It's not
creepy and
scary.
weird. So like it's different, right? But like a slasher film or something, like I would be like, ugh, God, no, I would never want to, right? I've never read a Stephen King book that wasn't in the Dark Tower.
one. Mhm.
I and the Dark Tower I have mixed feelings about, but but not because of horror reasons. Yeah, I just don't love. I did like Hyperion, which does have some horror elements to
It
it.
does.
And
Absolutely.
I like the priest tale or whatever it is,
Yes,
like whatever.
and that has some in
it.
it.
And
Sun
that's probably the
Eater
scariest story.
has deep roots
Eater
in
has horror.
Lovecraftian cosmic horror.
I guess so. Yeah.
Come
You guess.
deep roots, Jared. There are deep cosmic horror roots here.
Yeah.
He does
Okay.
different things with it. He subverts and he does some different things and he takes it to a different place. But there are
But I
deep
was like
roots.
never. I was like never freaked out when I read Sun Eater.
I was gonna ask, is that the thing? Is it like the gimmick of being scared that you don't like? Like if there was a horror
I don't
movie
like
that
the
is like,
sensation of being scared because
That's it.
because I'm a well-adjusted human being. like like they're like, do you like feeling hungry? No, because for millions of years I have evolved to not like like being hungry. Like this is the point.
Richard Matheson's amazing. Let me ask you about this. What about the original, the old school Twilight Zone?
Let's see. It's been a really long time since I've seen any of it, but that was I don't know, that was a little bit different because it was like in my mind, right? I guess what it might be is that I really hate like slasher films. I dislike stuff with like jump scares. Jump scares like really
That too.
bother me,
Right.
right? But if it's just like creepy, I'm less, or if it's like actually like it's the darkness inside all of us, right? Which I feel like a lot of that old Twilight Zone stuff is like about this. What's the episode where like all the lights go out on all the streets, right? And like they like do you know what I'm talking? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh
but
yeah.
I remember reading
and this
that.
neighborhood thinks it's that neighbor, and
Yeah, and I remember reading that teleplay like in English class. Like they would read it, we would read the script, right? As like one of like it was like in my anthology. That I liked. That one I liked, right? Like so that stuff's not awful, right? But I guess when it's like big jump scares, it's big I don't like, and I don't love gore. Here's a weird thing. I don't know, John. So Jacob, sit this one out. But John, like after I had kids,
yeah.
I became like way more sensitive to violence in media. Where previously, like, okay, for instance, I'm a big Tarantino fan.
Oh,
I don't mind like all the blood and stuff, right? I think I would have more trouble with the blood and stuff now that I've had kids. For some reason, everything felt more real, like the moment I had kids.
everything is completely different.
Yeah.
Your perspective and vision is completely skewed to a different reality once you have children.
Yeah.
And it's like Jacob will understand. I've told him this a million times. It's like you're not going to go to the next step of who you are and finding out who you are until you find someone that you love more than yourself. And then you start, and then the children, if you ever do have children, if you make that decision, and that's not the decision you have to make, I'm not pushing you, son. Children are another step there. That's what I found. But like jump scares and gore, I mean, if you're looking at the meter of horror, this is like this is at the bottom, right?
Okay.
And you have to know that. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's the easy stuff.
What's
you
the
want
stuff?
is to kind of
What's the stuff I should be reading then? What's
you want the stuff where
Discovery by J.H.A. Minton.
That's sitting on my shelf. I haven't read it yet, but I asked for I did this thing which could have been seen as very manipulative, but I swear it wasn't what I intended. I like reached out on Twitter and I was like, is there a way for me to buy this without buying it from Amazon? and then you're like, don't worry, I got you, and like send me a free copy. Yeah,
I was just we're just gobsmacked you wanted to maybe have it on your shelf. So absolutely.
Yeah.
But you want the stuff where, because look, I think you'll agree with me, probably, right? As an English major that didn't finish, but you'll agree with me. Art is like a life lived at a heightened reality at a compressed rate of time, right?
mm-hmm.
When you're watching a film or reading a book or those kind, not fine art, but story art. So you want the horror stuff that is in that zone. So you see characters pushed all the way up to fight or flight. So you get the absolute understanding of them at their core, like nothing else can bring them. So if you've never read anything but Dark Tower by Stephen King, there's some stuff that doesn't even have supernatural stuff to it that you really try.
Okay. All right. If you send me a list, I'll consider reading some stuff. When I can get to it. By the way, none of my criticisms of the Dark Tower come from it being horror. Like the horror elements are not the stuff that I mean, I guess there's some horror elements, especially that last book has like more horror stuff, like the restaurant scene and things. But the problem with the Dark Tower is like all of my opinions about the Dark Tower run counter to everyone else's opinions. So like it's like, wow, everything I loved about it is the stuff that most people hate. And so like,
you got to tell me what you love now, John. I haven't seen either one of these, so I'm behind, brother.
Yeah,
I need to get to
those.
But okay, now you have to hit me with what you love about Dark Tower, and we've gone a little over an hour, Jared. So if you raise your hand if you want to like be set free.
Let's put it this way. I mean, you can end it whenever you want. Who cares? Okay. But like, I just opened a second beer. When I finish the second beer, I'll tell you.
We're good. Okay.
So yeah,
all right.
yeah. So, I love The Gunslinger. I've read The Gunslinger 4 times. I think Drawing of the Three.
That's their least favorite.
I think Drawing of the Three sucks.
Wow, really?
And I DNF'd Drawing of the Three twice before I finally got through it to then get to it. I really like Wizard and Glass and Wolves of the Kala.
My favorite.
So you can understand what I mean. It turns out I really just like the Western stuff. Like it turns out like I just wanted to read a Western. But I love The Gunslinger. I think it's the best thing Stephen King's ever written. I say that as someone who's not read a lot of Stephen King, but like, who cares? But I love The Gunslinger, and I thought Wolves of the Kala is great. I don't love the part. Well, I can't really say anything because I'm going to spoil Wolves of the Kala for people. But there's some parts of Wolves of the Kala I don't love. But there's a lot of good parts to it, and I love Wizard and Glass. Wizard and Glass is really good, which I guess has some horror elements at the very end, like with the death scene for the love interest.
But Wizard and Glass has so much more of an epic fantasy feel. I mean, that series is like you can't pin it down for genre because it's all over the board.
Yeah. But like, Song of Susanna really sucks. That's not a good book at all. Drawing of the Three, I don't think is great. What's the third book called? Is that
Wastelands? Yeah, forgettable.
But then
obviously you couldn't remember it.
yeah, forgettables. But like 3 good books in a 7-book series is not bad. So
yeah, it's not bad. It's a mess. I'm not going to say it's not a mess. Yeah. Like I think it's a beautiful, amazing mess.
I think the ending is good.
I love the ending. I don't think it could end any other way.
I think that thing about like, you don't have to keep reading whatever. Like, I think that's funny to add, but
I do too.
But then the actual ending, like, I think is really good.
I think it's phenomenal.
And I think people get mad about it.
I see no other way to end it. I think it's truly beautiful.
Yeah, I think people who get mad about it are babies that need to grow up. Like, what do you want me to do?
I'm going to think of a list.
Tie a little bow around every series for you, but come on.
Have you ever read any Robert McCammon?
I've never read Robert McCammon. No.
Okay, you definitely need to read some Robert McCammon. I'm gonna curate a list for you, Jared.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. I will hopefully read. Yeah. Jacob, what are you reading, man?
I'm halfway through Ashes of Man. I'm trying to catch up to be ready for Shadows Upon Time by the time it comes out, be at the gala and enjoy it with everybody. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's gonna happen because I've been around here for like 2 weeks now, so I'm falling desperately behind.
I'll admit
Yeah.
that a lot of stuff in Ashes of Man. I mean, there's a few things in Ashes of Man you're going to remember, but that book is a little forgettable. It did feel a little transitional to me. There are some big moments in it, but like, it felt
Yeah, I
like
was going to say
there's
the
like a
ending
couple
you
of
don't
big-
forget.
Yeah, you don't forget the very beginning because there's no time skip. That's not really a spoiler. That's the only thing I'll say. But
Right.
and then the very ending, you remember the middle. I forget a lot of the middle of that book, and I read
I
it
mean,
this
the
year.
middle was
so-
there was a chapter I just got through that I'm not going to forget. That's kind of like the big lore drop tells all
Yeah.
from a character that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think there are a lot of highlights in the book so far for me.
Yeah. Where like Kingdoms of Death has a lot of those. Like has like a lot.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite. My favorite is Kingdoms of Death.
Kingdoms
so
of
far
Death
the
was
series.
fantastic.
But I do think Disquiet Gods might unseat it because I'm really enjoying it. I have to see how it sticks the landing.
I mean, the thing that worked the most for me in Kingdoms of Death was that there was a lot of emotionality to it that's not in any of the other books. And I'm hoping that that comes back. I'm not feeling it a lot in Ashes of Man. Simply, not only because there's a lot of, side characters that things have happened, but there's also just a certain amount of time that's spent to Hadrian and nobody else. And it kind of changes the perspective of the journey in a way that I don't really feel for the characters in a way that I wish I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to in Kingdoms of Death, but I ended up caring a lot for them. So I hope that happens again.
Yeah, I see. Okay. There's one thing that has emerged in Christopher's writing style. I've also told him I hate this, and he told me that's fine because he loves it. Have you noticed how many single sentence paragraphs he writes? Like he
No.
loves single sentence paragraphs, and he does more of them as the series goes on. So it'll be like big paragraph, single sentence, big paragraph, single sentence, and by the end of the series, there will be like 6 single sentence paragraphs, like in a row that are supposed to be like dramatic, and I hate this.
Why?
They offend my sensibilities, and they feel you want to use them really sparingly. I feel if you use them too much, they don't have as much of an emotional impact. But honestly, this is
Yeah, check our work.
Yeah,
real
I'm
quick.
flipping through.
I was about to grab Discovery and start
I
looking.
think we might have a lot.
We got 2 strikes, single sentence paragraphs, and gore. This may not be Jared's book.
So a lot of people in modern fantasy have a lot of single sentence paragraphs, like a lot
Yeah.
of them. And so I find it annoying. But like I feel like by finding things annoying about modern books, it's a good way to like think about what you want to create too. Annoyance is a very powerful motivator for me. And which can be a little grating. It's kind of like when you figure out that Sanderson loves to end paragraphs with rhetorical questions. And once you notice, you can't stop noticing.
You can't.
So
you
it'll be
can't.
like a whole paragraph of like Kaladin introspecting, Kaladin being sad, and then it'll be like, but who could say really? Question mark, and then like it'll go to another paragraph, and it'll be like, and of course, who would think that? Like he loves that, man. He loves it so much, and once you notice it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So talking about Kaladin, and Derry was talking about Hobb, and Brian here's talking about Erickson. So
haven't read
what
Hobb,
are some of your
so-
favorite fantasy?
Okay, it's been a while since I've thought like about what my actual top 10 would be. Gene Wolfe, Shadows, Gene Wolfe.
Dude,
Shadows
I might have to
Book of
tap
the-
out of this, Jared. You're gonna have to help me.
Yeah, Book of the New Sun is the best. It might be. It should be like pretty close to number 1. If I were thinking about my favorite fantasy books, actually, hold on. Like I made a top 10 fantasy books video, but it was like probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. I'm gonna quickly look at see if I can see my top 10. I know Book of the New Sun was really high.
I mean, it's good, but look. I could get a book of Sudoku and maybe have the same feeling as reading that book.
Okay, so let me see. I used to say Wheel of Time was my favorite. Probably Book of the New Sun is what I like more. I like Wheel of Time more. I would say I love Piranesi. I love Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell as well.
I love Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell.
I love The Once and Future King. By
That
T.H.
is
White.
one of my favorite of all. I mean, read that, changed my life.
Yeah, I love Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay.
Haven't read that one yet.
And I basically love all of Discworld. So as like for lighter stuff.
I messed up and read the first.
Oh, okay.
Published.
I actually started in publication order, and I still loved it, but most people don't. I would go to the City Watch books.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me
The only
I'm gonna
books
tell you
I've read
something.
off this
I'm gonna tell
list are Piranesi and some of Lord of the Rings.
I'm going to tell you something, John.
Okay.
I'm sorry to ruin your unlocking experience, but one of the books that I bought you was Earth of the New Sun, so that once you finished Book of the New Sun, you would read the 5th book. That's like not officially part of the series, but is there. And I bought it for
I will
on the-
stick in then.
And
Here's
I bought it thinking, I don't know if John's fully committed to Book of the New Sun, but if I buy him the 5th book, I can guilt him into it.
I now have books 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Because someone sent me books 3 and 4. And like Jacob will tell you, I was telling Jacob, it's like, man, I might have to tap out. Like after book 2, it's like I feel like that guy that I got an invite to a party. I'm just in a corner not getting it. Like it's
Jacob,
if
did
you have
hear,
a story to tell me the story.
Yeah, Jacob, did you hear actually? So I think it's Merriam-Webster is actually putting out a new version of the dictionary, and it turns out John is now spelled Wussy.
Yeah.
It's a new update. Who would have
I
thought?
fully
Okay.
believe it. I mean, it's always fun to listen to you talk about Book of the New Sun because first, it's always fun to listen to you talk about Book of the New Sun off camera because it's very different from what happens on camera. There's
Who, me?
always
Who are you
yes.
talking? Okay.
I'm talking about you because you talk about you'll be on camera and be like, I just don't know if it's for me. It's hard for me to get through it. It's just not my type of jam. And then we get you off camera and you start with I don't know if it's for me. And then you'll keep going for 5 or 10 minutes and there's like progressively more arm waving and frustration. And it's just like, just tell me the story. And it always ends in yelling.
Okay. So the 5th book, so Earth of the New Sun, was actually written because Wolf's publisher was like, nobody understands this ending. And he's like, it's really
another one.
He's like, it's really obvious what would happen, and they're like, it's not obvious. And so then he writes Earth of the New Sun as like the continuation of the Severian story for just like one more book, and it is actually really useful because you would not see all of it coming. Like you would not.
I think you will agree.
I need to do a close read.
Okay, I think you will agree with me, Jared, as someone that likes to protect those 2 hours and slow down and take in art and story and internalize it and see how it changes the way you see the world and all these kind of things. We all come to art for a different reason. I personally am addicted and love and come to it and protect those hours every day because I love the emotionality of it. I want to walk in someone's shoes. I want to live a journey. I want to live vicariously. I want to learn something about myself and them and others. And it all becomes about an emotional experience of another life lived. Book of the New Sun is the antithesis of this. It's not going to give you that.
It is going to give you that. It is.
Well, books 1 and 2 haven't, buddy.
Here's the thing. What I will try to say without spoiling any of this for you, John.
Okay.
Is that if you're thinking about what it means to occupy this perspective of another person, what that means in the story of Book of the New Sun ends up being incredibly relevant in book 4 in a way that will make you reinterpret the entire series.
All right. I'm going to stick in, Jared.
Yeah.
I give you my word.
And then if you don't understand it, just read book 5 and a few things will get made clearer.
Finally,
is the read along still happening with that?
Austin and Richard were supposed to put something together. I read book 2, so I'd be ready.
You can't trust those guys.
Yeah, that's never happening. They've interviewed Sanderson now. We're never seeing.
They're big leagues, man.
That's a good point. Do you guys have either of you read any Guy Gavriel Kay? Have you?
I have read A Song for Arbonne and loved it.
Okay, yeah. I read A Song for Arbonne this year. I liked it. I like Tigana the most still. I like Sailing to Sarantium, or the Sarantine Mosaic is the duology. I like those a lot. I was reading The Lions of Al Razhan this year, and I DNF'd it. But the thing was, I don't think it's bad. What it was like, I've read a lot of Guy Gavriel Kay, and so then it was like, I kind of see what's happening with Lions of Alrazan. Like I kind of see what's going on here, and so I just didn't. I needed something new. But to be honest, I've felt really burnt out on a lot of science fiction and fantasy for about a year. Fantasy more than that, and and so I've been most of the fiction I'm like looking forward to reading in the next year or so is not fantasy. It's not because I'm like anti-fantasy. It's just like I feel like I got to take a break from it for a while.
Oh yeah, yeah. You that was an unpopular opinion, I see. I mean, I think that's completely true. I try and mix my months up as much as I can because you can get too attached to any genre. You need like a shaking.
Yeah, exactly. And like I've been meaning. I told Jimmy Nuts that we were gonna read Proust this year. We didn't do that, but like I got to read Proust. It's 7 volumes. Like I got to get to it at some point. So like
you really do.
I
So,
got to read. Proust.
Let me ask you, if you don't like horror, it's not your bag.
Yeah.
What made you reach out and say, you know what? How do I get a copy of Discovery? Like, what tickled your fancy? Was it just the sociological experiment of a family writing this?
Well,
I have to see this train wreck.
How bad could this be?
Yeah,
well, like it was like I personally liked you guys, and so I thought I would want to see what you created, right? Like, and like I am interested in seeing like people that I like and like what they create, right? I want to support creativity in like some fashion as well. I guess I'm not really supporting it because you sent me, like I've cost you money because you've sent me the book, but still, like I want to like show some kind of support for it. That's basically it. Like that was the whole thing. And like I'll read stuff that like a friend of mine has written or something, even if it doesn't sound like kind of up my alley. And sometimes it ends up being really good. So
yeah.
And like I like to think that I balance two things simultaneously. That does not always come out when I'm talking to people like on streams and stuff, admittedly, is that I have incredibly strong opinions and I also think I remain fairly open-minded. So I'll say like that horror sucks and like there are no good horror books, but if you're like, but hey, this is actually a really good horror book, I'll probably at least try it, right? So
yeah. Just so you can keep your opinions and tell us, oh no, you're still wrong.
And if it sucks, then I'll come around and be like, man, wow, what a stinker.
Dude, you were way off base. Yeah.
Is there any horror that you do like? There must be.
I mean, I like The Shining. Like that was like that's the closest thing I can think that I'm like.
You're talking book or
and
movie?
I guess Hyperion. I guess if you thought about like certain parts of that are horror.
Definitely the preacher's story. Yeah.
Yeah. So like those are.
When you say Shining, are you talking about the book or the movie?
The movie. I haven't read the book.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a very different story than the book.
Yeah. So yeah, I have no idea what the book's about. You can tell me like anything about the book and I believe you. But
broad strokes are there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. There is like I remain like open-minded about it so that if people are like you should try this, I might do it, but I'm probably not in the mode of like actively seeking out more horror in the same way that like frankly I'm not actively seeking out more epic fantasy. Because I feel like I've kind of gotten from that genre what I want. And if then someone was like, hey, this is really good, I might read it, right? But there's just like, it's just kind of like I've gotten what I need from it for a while. I'll just like look around elsewhere and then just read other stuff for a bit and then kind of.
Well, when you come back to epic fantasy, you have to do Long Price Quartet. That would be
that's an easier sell because it's really short. I saw that the audiobook's like 15 hours for all 4 books. Or something like absurd, like yeah. So or it's like maybe not all 4 books, but I mean it's short, so it's easier to do. Like that would be I could read all of them in a month and still feel like it would be fine, So like that's more doable. But if someone were like, man, okay, so for instance, I read Gardens of the Moon.
Yeah,
thought it was fine.
I really liked it. I liked it.
I read. Is the second one Toll the Hounds?
No, the second one is Dead House
Gates.
Dead House Gates. Okay, I read Dead House Gates.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine.
I liked it even more.
Okay, and so then I tried to start Memories of Ice. I read like 10 pages. I was like, the other 2 books were just fine. And like maybe they get really good. I'm open to them being really good. I know a lot of people say that they're really good. But I read 2 books that were like 600, 700 pages. And I thought they were just fine. And so I'm just not going to actively think about like Malazan is just not going to be anywhere close to the top of my list for a while because the other books were just fine. You know,
that's totally fair. Things will come back around maybe, or they won't. I mean, I think part of protecting those 2 hours are filling it with things that you want to fill it with.
Yeah, that's part of that's part of it, right? Like you should almost entirely rid yourself of a sense of obligation when it comes to your reading.
Completely.
You might have a sense of obligation if you are like invested in a project. If you're like, I want to understand the history of 20th century French literature. Okay? Or like 19th century French literature. You want to understand that? If you don't read Proust, then you're not going to
get there.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so you got to read all 7 volumes, even if you don't really like them. That's kind of the eating your vegetables part, right? But if you're not doing that, if you're just like, I just want to read more, then you should never think to yourself like, oh, I'm gonna read this huge series just because it's the thing everybody's read. Right. My God, what a way to ruin what a way to ruin things for yourself.
I mean, people are like, doing a channel, it's like people are like, how can you, and I think people will burn out because it's like, here's where the trends are. This is what I have to read. This is what, this many a month. I say this with like love and respect, right? If you are a fantasy book channel, and you are making your reading decisions based on like trends, like you're chasing views, you're going to burn out. You're selling your soul for about $7. Okay, like you should, like, at the very least, your soul should have a slightly higher price. Yeah.
And so if you're not doing this because you just like the books and like talking about them,
yes,
like what's the freaking point? Just read the stuff that you like. This is what, when I think about the channels I really like on BookTube, one of my favorite dudes in the world is Alan. Library
I love
Alexandria.
Alan is,
and that's because like if you tell, you're like, Alan, everybody's reading this book,
he won't care.
He'll immediately just be like, why does that matter?
Yeah.
And like he'll just like, that's his response, and like I love that, right?
Yeah.
And like that's the only reason you should do this. If you wanted to go chase a lot of views with your content, you guys should be making like Fortnite video, Minecraft. You should be making Minecraft videos, right?
Yeah.
right. Like, and so your stuff about like I'm starting a book channel, but I'm going to chase trends. Yeah. My God, like you're just fooling yourself, and like it's a way to be miserable and make no money. And I don't know. Ideally, you will not be miserable and you will make money. But like if you have to be miserable,
if you have to
at
make
least,
no money,
like don't be miserable for free is what I'm saying. I paid, by the way, I did get Alan to read one book one time. I got him to read this a second time. I paid him $500. And that's because I was drunk on stream and promised him.
Oh my God,
that's so much money.
I was like, really. I had like a really good month on I had a really good month on YouTube, and I was like riding high, but I was like just drinking this, and he's like, I would never read this again. And I'm like, I will pay you $500 if you read it again. He's like, okay, and I'm like, damn. But
is there any books you really want us to read, Jared?
Yeah. Here's the thing, like my 2 hours, I fill it with stuff that I love, and I love a lot, it turns out. And the other thing is that above and beyond the money, if I can get anyone else to click their clock over and get a little bit closer to those 2 hours for themselves, that's why we're here. Yeah. Like that's the goods. That's the whole point.
Yeah. John, so since I've already ruined the unboxing experience for you, I'll tell you the second book that I got you, because I got you 2 books.
Okay.
Since I don't get to see it, I at least get to see your reaction, right? Okay. I got you Last Picture Show by Larry McMurtry, but I'm a little afraid you've read it.
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not. I thought I had. Okay. And I can't look. I told Jacob is like, I'm starting to think about my favorite books of all time. Like, who cares about genre? Just my favorite. Yeah. These are my favorite reads. The reason I'm starting to think that way is because I think I'm about to read Lonesome Dove in December.
Okay, yeah.
And from what I hear, that's going to like crash my whole list.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to know what my list is before it gets crashed.
So I often hear that Lonesome Dove and Last Picture Show are sort of McMurtry's best,
Yeah,
but they're very different.
completely.
Last Picture Show kind of made me. So the reason I got it for you was like twofold. One, for the podcast, I've found that one of the effective ways to do it, like interviews, I've been like working on my psychology of interviewing, right? Is the night before the episode, I like take people out to dinner, and then they're all like bookish. I'm like, hey, do you want to go to if we're recording in person, like, do you want to go to a bookstore? And I just like walk around the bookstore with them for like an hour, and we just talk about books we like. And often I'll offer to buy them a book, as like a, you're on the here, like, oh yeah, you'll love this one, right? And there was this British guy coming on here, and we were talking about American literature, and he's like, well, I want to read stuff about Texas, right? And I was like, all right, well, you got to read Larry McMurtry. And it just so happens the bookstore I go to, Book People in Austin, Texas, it has a huge McMurtry section in the classics. And you sort of like go through it, and I'm like, they didn't have Lonesome Dove for some reason, but they had Last Picture Show. And so I was like, all right, that's the next one. So I got it. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I bet John would really like this, because the story of Last Picture Show, it's about a dying Texas town that basically rallies together to try to save its movie theater.
Right.
That is the most John book I've ever heard.
That is the most John book. And I have talked about this book.
Old Texas and movies. Like,
Zach, I thought I had read it. And I think I was talking to Mike about it, and I misremembered. I have not read it. I've seen the movie with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. So
which I'm sure is very different.
So there it is. Earth of the New Sun, Last Picture Show. Very different books. But if you don't like either of them,
next time you're in Book People, look for a book called The Sun by Philip Meyer.
Okay. All right. I'll take a look. There's a whole Texas section in Book People.
This guy was not even from Texas, went to school at UT Austin, and wrote this multi-generational story about a Texas oil family, basically, which is how and where I grew up. And this guy frickin' nailed it. Like, it is so amazing.
You grew up as an oil family? I assume that was the part you were trying to communicate. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So it's so good. You got to check that out. Yeah. But let me ask you, before we totally run out of time, I got one more question. And
I got about half this beer. I got half this beer left, so I'm okay. I really view that like that's like the right timer for this.
Okay, good. So how do you think, and we were talking about the internet and what it does, and how you should get away from your phone and protect those 2 hours and the dangers of it and everything. Do you see it as a boon for artistic expression, or do you see it as a problem in the death of artistic expression?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I think that it's impossible for me to answer this question without like just basically talking about my own experience to get there. Because this is actually something I go back and forth about a lot, right?
Me too. That's why I'm asking you.
And I'm gonna be honest. Over the last about 2 weeks, I thought about quitting YouTube, like really seriously, because I haven't made videos in a while, and I was like, that feels kind of good, right? And then I realized it was like that I liked making money from YouTube without making videos, so like that was the problem that made it clear that I probably still need to make it, but here's actually seriously why I thought about quitting YouTube. I'm not quitting, for anyone who's watching. I plan on staying, but I do have kind of an exit plan in my head, like over a number of years. That like my best writing, okay, like I'm working on this novel, okay. Only one person has seen any of the writing of that novel, right? One person, and he's a writer, a novelist I really respect, and he was giving me some notes, right? And like that's why he's. I had the idea for this novel 4 years ago. Okay. And I've been working and reworking the first 20 pages, and I finally feel like it's kind of clicked, and I'm now ready to write the book, and then I'll have to do a lot of revise. There's like a whole thing, but it feels like it almost could be ready, right? Like it feels like it's kind of cooked long enough, and I'd be happy to talk about it a little bit, in the after this, but that process is so different than anyone is able to do online.
Yes.
Because you learn if you're going to make a career of it at all. And people are like, well, why do you make a career out of it? Well, because like it allows you to do stuff that you love, right? Like that's why you do it, right? it's a volume game for so many people. This is why so many people turn into like slop channels. They just put out as many videos as possible. They put out as many, they just like keep writing. I even feel this on Substacks, like I just got to write like and not just I got to write, but I got to send something out to the public, right? Like that's, and I do think that for some people you can thrive. I think I do okay in that environment, but it changes the sort of artistic calculus. And that idea that you're going to like really just work on something silently for a long time. Again, I have had the title, the premise, and the basics of the story for this novel for 4 years. And that's completely different than if I have a YouTube video. I would never work on a YouTube video for 4 years because the advice you'll get from anyone who knows anything about doing well on YouTube is make it good enough. That's it. Make it good enough. That's not what novelists tell each other.
No. It's so different. It's so different.
Yeah. And so at the very least, there is like severe tension with trying to do real creativity or real thinking online just because the economics and sort of all the incentives point you in a particular way of doing things. And I just really believe that like structures and incentives matter. Like people respond to them, so they will actually shape the way that art is produced. They will actually, and maybe some of it will be really good, but a lot of it won't be able to thrive. And that's the stuff that's the thing that I worry about. And it's why, for instance, I don't do like, I mean, I would talk about it on this stream if you wanted, right? But like, I don't do like writing updates. Here's how far I am on my novel, something like this. Cause who knows? Maybe it'll be another 4 years. Like I hope not, but like.
Well, here's the thing. Like if you've redone those first 20 pages, like that, you just don't know.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Every writer is different. People will tell you, just dude, finish your shitty first draft. Just keep pushing and just finish.
The funny thing is that's how I feel about all other projects. But this novel has been the one I couldn't do it to. Yeah.
And everyone is so different. Everyone is so different. And I totally understand that. When I was doing theater, there's a lot of shows, right? We need to open this show. And, my buzzwords was when I was a artistic director of a theater company, it's like, sometimes you just got to open a show and it's like, is it good enough 50 feet away and at 50 miles an hour? Sell the tickets.
Yeah.
It was interesting working with you and Mom because you always had that mentality. Like, is it good enough to go out? It's time for it to go out. And like if it was left up to Mom's devices, we'd still be writing book one. Like it needs to be this perfect creation before it's ready, and it'll never be perfect. That's just not possible.
This is kind of why I enjoy the medium of podcasting. So Jacob was like now editing a lot of my podcast conversations. What I find interesting about those is that the medium allows you to improvise and the medium allows you to like go follow the natural flow. So perfection is not something you can think about while doing it. You can't chase it. Yeah. And so it just becomes very natural. And I do think I do very well there. In like you're very good at it. That style. I actually think one of my skills as a podcast interviewer, if I may, as someone who's only released one podcast episode, is that I'm very good at like allowing a tangent to go and then like to pull it back and like we sort of slowly revisit like the important themes and stuff. Like I think I can do that kind of well, but it's very intuitive, right? It's not planned. But like for writing a novel, it's like every word has to be great. Every sentence has to be great. And so, at least this is how I feel about it, Jacob. And this is how I
did say the S word. But Jacob, tell them the lesson you learned. Sometimes
I was the exact same way. I loved to. It takes me like 5 times longer to write a chapter than either my mom or my dad would, because I like to sit and agonize of this sentence has to be great. This sentence has to be great, and then it'll be this great completion. One thing is that like 9 times out of 10, you'll get to the end and go like, all these parts are great, but as a whole, it's unintelligible, and I have to do it again. Yeah. But the other thing is, like, sometimes, what was the thing that we always say? We were looking a lot at a scene from Blood Meridian, the Comanche attack. That it's a lot of long-winded and then but the reason that all of that works is because at the beginning there's just very simple sentences like he sat a horse,
Yeah.
And he sat a horse makes the rest of it work.
Yeah.
Sometimes the very simple sentences are really necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes a sentence is just the guy sat a horse.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
guy's
and
got to get across
McCarthy's-
the room.
And McCarthy's actually good. Late McCarthy's really good for this. Early
Mhm.
McCarthy is like all flowery all the time. It's like the
Ah.
King. It's like the King James Bible or something.
Oh,
But-
I just read. I've only read 2: The Road and All the Pretty Horses. Those
Okay.
are both kind of late, right?
I think all the pre-orders is fairly early. Let me make sure I get this. But the road's really late.
The Road is definitely late. All the Pretty
Yeah.
Horses. Oh man, that hit me pretty hard.
I'm trying to just look here.
But
Oh
But I
no!
was gonna
All the Pretty Horses is actually after Blood Meridian.
okay,
Oh, okay.
That's 92. So I'm thinking like the Orchard Keeper or Sutri.
okay.
So anything before the 80s. McCarthy simplified his style on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously was still like a master of language, but he simplified his style considerably, and it became less epic in the sort of phrasing and everything. And so in Blood Meridian is probably where he nails it the best. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when Amy was getting her MFA, she went to the university that has all of his papers and all that kind of stuff because she wanted to see like the progression of work.
Mm-hmm.
And from where he starts to where he ends, like this, it just comes out of him that way. Like there's he's so deeply rooted in that American West, Texas especially, oratory tradition.
Yeah, there's this one thing he does a lot, and there's a name for it, and unfortunately I cannot remember, but he does it in Blood Meridian all the time, but he does it in The Road as well, where he'll do like this and this and this and this, and he uses and every time in a sequence. And I'll admit, like I ripped that up. Like the moment I read it, I was like, wow, that rules. Like if you do it at the right time, that is so good.
But you understand where that comes from and why, I think, right? That goes all the way back to the King James version.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That
So
repetition and storytelling in those rhythms.
It is like an established part of like English rhetoric.
Yeah,
he just uses it very effectively.
Oh,
and you kind of
he's a
see
master.
it used in like a violent scene or something like this, and like you understand that. I remember the first time I tried it. Right, I was writing a fantasy novel at the time. It was other garbage, right? But but it was like in the middle of like a fight scene, inserting that in the middle of a paragraph like slowed it down so that you could only hear like the narrator's thoughts, like the narrator or like the main character's thoughts, right? Oh, it's like this and this and this and this and this, and it's like a beat, as like this like beast is running towards him or something, right? Like and you realize like, oh, that can be really, really effective. And it's just like one of those little things, and it's just one of the things that sticks out where I just think like, yeah, I stole that directly from reading Cormac McCarthy.
Look, I mean, I said it earlier. It's like I watch film or TV. I can't not steal. Like it's
Yeah.
That's
how you learn.
It's how you learn. It's how it all comes around. I mean, what they say after the 16th century when we had the Bible and Shakespeare. I mean, you're not going to do anything entirely new.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just accept it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of dramatic that like prior to the 16th century, it's really hard to read anything in English without like considerable effort.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much after like Shakespeare and the King James version, you can read everything.
Yeah.
It might take a little bit more effort, but you can read it.
Yeah.
And so English kind of gets codified. And after that means we've been doing it for close to 600 years, right? Like, and so for about 600 years, we've been able to read everything here. So like we're just, I don't know, we're going to tread a lot of familiar ground at that
For
point.
sure. Thinking about it, the question I asked you, and I want to come back to this one more time and then we'll let you go. It's like, I love the internet in that the way it neutralizes or balances the playing field. Like I don't have to be friends with the Medicis anymore to be funded,
Yeah.
But at the same time, relying on the internet, there's just so many pitfalls and dangers of it tipping and going the wrong way.
No, absolutely. And if you want to hear a publishing horror story, by the way, as soon as we cut the stream, I'll tell you guys. Sorry, everybody in the chat. But like, understanding what it's like dealing with like the kind of internals of publishing can be nightmarish, right? But dealing with the the crowd is also nightmarish at times.
Yeah.
It changes the calculus, but like no matter, I mean, this is kind of a hack out, so we have to find a better way to end this, or God, like it's been a wasted 2 hours of audio, but there are always trade-offs, right? And so it's not like you're ever going to find a system that suddenly doesn't have any trade-offs, right? And so like moving to this sort of democratized, kind of inherently populist style like platforms can have its benefits. Clearly, it does have its trade-offs, right? But Jacob, I'm going to need to kick it to you for some like words of wisdom, so, like as we end, because apparently I didn't land the plane quite
Of
well
all
enough.
the people, you're going to kick it to me.
How about Derry? This brings us back to the philosophy being relevant no matter the time, since the thoughts were expressed. People are the same. Our foibles, the things we face, the things we fear, they're the same. Whether it's on the internet or in the town square, we are who we are. So we have to navigate the pitfalls and continue to create. I think that would be my one thing. I would say one thing to make the world better, everyone has to stop at least once a week and create something.
That would be good. I do think more people should create, and that's good. I like that. That was a solid ending. Derry, thank
That's
you for
much
doing
better.
what we couldn't do.
You
Yeah.
saved me, Derry.
Thank God Derry was here. Derry threw you a big lifeline there, buddy.
Yeah, I was really scared for a moment.
Derry's read it before, and Derry saved the stream.
Yeah,
Derry did it
absolutely.
again.
You know what? The chat does over and over again. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone that catches up on replay. Thanks so much to Jared Henderson. You got so much going on. And to spend some time with us, we really appreciate it. We really look forward to this. It was such a blast talking with you and hanging out with you. And we really, really thank you for being here.
No, thank you so much. This was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Thanks to everyone in the chat. It was great.
Yeah.
And one last time, you can follow Jared below, as well as his new podcast, The Honest Broker, and you can find his Substack below. So click all those links down there.
And the first episode is you and Corey Doctorow.
Yeah, first episode
Yeah.
of me and Corey Doctorow.
And I'm not just saying this because I edited it, but it's really good.
I watched it.
super
It's
interesting.
awesome. It's something
thank you.
everyone I think should watch. It is truly
you.
amazing. And you do a great job, Jared.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
We will catch you next time. Everyone, thanks so much for being here. We went a little bit longer. I thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. Good night, everybody. We will catch you next time.
Thanks, folks.
Bye, everybody.